Today let's take a look at Dawn Under, a memory game with a bit of a twist, and let's take a look at what comes in this box. Hi guys, welcome back to WePlaysSG, where we unbox, review and show you how these games are played. So today we have Dawn Under, which is a memory game, and this is published by CMON Games, as you can see here, as well as Mind Cafe. So for those of you who are not in Singapore, Mind Cafe is basically a local board gaming cafe where you can walk in and basically just rent a board game to play at that spot. So it's charged hourly. So I've been there, and this was one of the games that we played. We also played with Lost Cities as well as Rats to Riches. So I think Rats to Riches is a exclusive game from Mind Cafe. So yeah. But basically Dawn Under, this is one of the game that we played as well. I think it's the last one that we played. We played 3, so this was the last one. And basically, I think they had a tournament for this game if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's a very interesting game. So as you can see here, it's a 2 to 6 player game. Plays for about 6 years and up, and 20 to 30 minutes. So yes, it's a pretty fast game. Basically, you have to kind of put vampires into their coffin, and based on the matching colors. So yeah, and it's a very light theme, so I guess that's why it's for ages 6 and up. And this is the side of the box, so it's pretty much the same. Yeah. So from here, I'll hold it up a bit so you can see. So basically we are playing in this, they call it the 3D game board, but it's pretty much the a double layer board, so that we can actually put if you can see here, these are the coffin areas or the grave areas. So basically we are putting the vampires inside these spots when we flip open a matching grave cover or coffin cover. So certain covers have rats. That's when different game mechanics will trigger, and you kind of are able to flip open lots of tiles that's surrounding the rat. So yeah. Again, because we kind of have a limited time there, so I'm not sure if we played it correctly. But yeah, that's how we played it. So basically it's to open the grave lid to remember the color, and then to place a matching vampire into the grave, and then closing the grave back up. But then if it doesn't match your vampire, you can actually put garlic. So everybody will have this garlic token that's of their own player color. So if you were to open another grave that has a vampire, then there's like a penalty. And if you open a grave that has another player's garlic, then there's another penalty as well. But if you open a grave with your own garlic, meaning you kind of forgot that you put it there, then I think the penalty is even higher. So yeah, that's the gist of the game. So it's pretty simple, but it's really quite interesting, and we like that you can play up to 6 players. So yeah, let's get this open. Alright, so let's get this unboxed. So there should be quite a few tokens here. So once again, this is Dawn Under. I think I shall put it here. Okay, so we are presented with the rulebook. So it's a very simple rulebook as I've remembered. So these are like pretty much the setup guide. So there's a different setup if there's only 2 players. So as you can see, this is the setup for 3 to 6. So yeah, these are the rules for the 2 players. So this is how to play the game, and the red click. So yeah, that's the red thing that I was talking about. So it's a pretty simple rulebook. There's only like 4 pages. So yeah, somehow like all the games that is more simple seems to be more interesting in a way. Yeah. So these are our. Okay, so first glance, this is a very thin cardboard punch out. You can see, so it's really pretty thin, and there's like lots of flecks. So, and yeah, not sure if you can see, it's already a bit warped. So yeah, got to be careful with this. So basically these are the grave leads, and we all have a different color at the back. So this color isn't the player colors, they're actually the colors that matches the different vampire colors. So your aim of this game is to flip open these grave leads and put the correct vampire colors into the correct grave lead. So but if you're wrong, then you kind of have to remember like which colored grave lead you have opened, as well as which grave actually has a vampire inside. So because if you were to open the lid with already a vampire, then you are supposed to pass your turn to the next player. But if you are able to correctly open a grave lid that you can actually put a vampire inside, so then you'll get to continue your turn. So yeah, so if you are able to remember most of it, then I guess it's better. So let's punch one of it out. So yeah, the cardboard quality isn't very good. Yeah, so as you can see, there's lots of these little tags here. I think they call it tags, like lots and lots of it. So yeah, and it's a very thin. We can see it's a very thin cardboard piece. So do play with care, because this you have to handle with this quite a lot. So yeah, got to be careful with this. So as far as the printing wise, I guess it's fine. It's not super sharp, but I guess it's the usual kind. Yeah, it's not like anything that's bad, but yeah, not very centered. As you can see, this gravely is printed a bit to the bottom. Yeah, and it's kind of got this. It's not really matte, and it's not entirely shiny as well. It's somewhere in between, but there's no like linen finish or any or that sort of thing here. So yeah, that's for the tokens. So we should have a lot of this because the board is quite big. Yeah. So these are the vampires that we have. So these are the player tokens, so that we know the garlic belongs to which token. I mean, belongs to which player. So these are different colored vampires. So we have them double-sided as well. So you can see here, yep, that's like an image of the castle or something. So basically everybody will have like all of these lined up in front of them, all facing down, except for the one for the first and the last vampire, so they'll be face up. So whenever you open like the grave leads, then you have to actually match them with the ones at either end of your row of vampires. So yeah, so basically if you were to match one, you can get to put it in the grave, and then you open a new one. So then you'll slowly start to reduce the number of vampires that you have. So the first one to reduce to 0 will be the winner. And then the penalty that I was talking about was to actually take one vampire from a player. So if you were to reveal a player's garlic, then that player will give you one of his vampire. So, but if you were to reveal your own garlic color, then everybody will give you one vampire. So don't you like append to either the first or the last vampire that you have face up. So yeah, this is the garlic. Yep, the art is fine, I guess. They are just photos of pictures of garlic. So we have more here, and we have the rats here. So I'm not too sure how the rat works, but how we played it that time was when we reveal a rat, then we get to review. So this is a part of the board. So let's say the rat is here, then we get to review the surrounding graves, lead one by one without any penalty. So yeah, then we sort of have to remember the lead color. I think we are probably playing it wrong, but yeah, that's how we played it that time. So the board is pretty thick because it has to be double-sided to store the vampires. So this is the thickness of one board. So yeah, and it's yeah, cause the one we played at the Mining Cafe is pretty worn out. I think probably because a lot of people play with it already. So yeah, so I think if you were to have this, I think it's better to really take care of it because I don't think it's going to last very long if you were to be too violent in a sense. Because pretty much let's put punch one vampire out. So even when punching the vampire, you have to be really careful. Like if you can see over here, all this part might get stuck onto the punch board, and then you might actually end up peeling off the paint. So this is one vampire, and this is how it fits. So as you can see, there's not a lot of wiggle space. I mean there is, and in order to take it out, it's actually quite not very easy. So you have to pry it out, which could damage the board here as well as the token where you are prying it out from, like this. So yeah, you have to be careful with this. Yep, so basically the game will kind of start out like this. So we have like all the lids covered. I mean all the graves covered with a lid, something like that. So you'll get to open this. So there's a blue, and let's say if I have a vampire that's blue color, so then I can actually put it inside, and then I'll cover it up again. So I have to kind of remember that there's a vampire here, else I wouldn't take any penalties, but then I would just have to pass my turn to the next player. So yeah, I think we played as 2 players that time, so it was still considered easy because right after my opponent's turn is back to my turn, so I don't have to remember too much, and there's only like 1 player that's doing her thing. So if there was like 4 players, then I guess it would be a bit harder because you kind of have to remember what each player did, and the changes to the board is a lot more drastic when it comes back to your turn. So yeah, so I guess if there's more people, that should be more difficult to play. So it's a quad fold board. Yes, try to do it like this. Oh, so we have art at the back, which is pretty nice. It's a very cartoonish kind of yeah, kind of have to put it like this because I can't really show you everything. Yeah, so it's a black and white picture. Oops. Alright, so that's the main board. So yeah, it's not symmetrical, but then we have this like pathway going like this. So yeah, if I'm not wrong, the pathway kind of separates these two, so these two are not considered adjacent. So there's nothing too much going on. So it's the artwork here doesn't really affect the gameplay, so it's just basically a bunch of holes. Yeah, a lot of graves here. So but artwork is pretty cute, and there's no cut to this game as well, so it's a very simple game as I've mentioned earlier. So yeah, and there's actually not too much in this board, in this box actually, but yeah. So that's the player board. So I'm not sure if I can let you see the depth of this thing. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's enough for 1 token to go in, so okay. So I always don't really like this kind of bifold one, because I mean the quad fold kind of board, because it seems really fragile. So we have these sticks. So yeah, so I'm not sure, now that I see these sticks, I'm not sure if we just pass everybody the vampire when there's a penalty, or do we just pass the stick? Yeah. Oh, and I think if I'm not wrong, when we open a grave that already has a vampire inside, we actually have to take this stick. So what this does is that if you collect 3 of them, then you have to, I think, either take a vampire from 1 player or everybody. I think it's everybody. Yeah, then you will return back the 3 sticks to the supply, and then yeah, you kind of go back to collecting all these again. So these are your regular tokens, wooden tokens. Yeah, so very normal pieces here. So there's no inserts here, just bags, full of bags, and lots of tokens. So yeah, and this is actually I would really prefer it to have like kind of a token, or I mean an insert here to put all this nicely, rather than collecting them in baggies, because I think baggies they would cause the tokens to actually rub against each other, so that would kind of degrade the tokens even faster. I mean, that's just my personal thought. Yeah, because these games, they for me, if I buy it, then I would really want them to last as long as possible. But of course, not forever. But yeah, at least probably a few years without being too like degraded of sorts. So yeah, so this is a very fast unboxing because there's not too much components inside, but trust me, it's a really interesting game. So yeah, I think this is probably the only game on the channel that I covered that I've played it before before I unbox it. So once again, thanks for watching. If you do like what I'm doing here, do consider subscribing and give this video a like. And do comment down below, is there any other games that you think is simple with little components but yet really interesting. So yeah, this is Don Under. So thank you for watching and bye bye.